What's up, everybody? My name's Trey. This is Denzel. Welcome back to Better Days Sports, your best stop for all sports news, talk, debates, whatever you want. We got you. And on today's episode, we'll actually be talking about the top five NBA players who are better than their stats show, because there's a lot of amazing players in the league, and sometimes that does not show up on paper. You actually got to watch the game to understand what's going on. But before we get into the episode, if you are new to the channel, new to the podcast, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to get notified every time we post a video, and leave a comment in the comment section down below of how you feel about our 5 picks, and maybe who do you feel is really underrated when it comes to their stats. But to kick it off, I'm going to go ahead and go first. Jimmy Butler on the Warriors, because his stats aren't crazy. He's giving you 17 points a game, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. But ever since Jimmy Butler has gotten to the Warriors, he has just breathed new life into the Warriors. And now they really look like they're ready for a deep playoff run, which I don't know if we were kind of having that same conversation earlier this year with the way they were kind of playing. So Jimmy Butler has really just came in and said, yo, I'm a dog. We gonna win. I'm not gonna put up gaudy numbers. But will he come into full form and really play off Jimmy? Is that gonna come out? Because if it does, they are gonna be absolutely dangerous. But how you feel, Denzel?
Playoff Jimmy. Good point. But when it comes to being underrated and stats not showing the full story, of course, I agree. I don't get into micro statistics, so don't hit me on, this minute stat where he plays when his shoes are tied and he wears them yellow versus when he wears black. Don't hit me with all that. We talking about major statistics, okay, not micro stats. So he's always played more than his numbers show, and I think that's why he's clashing so well, or he's meshing so well and not clashing with the Warriors right now, simply because his IQ, he just understands the game. And he's big enough and quick enough, even at this older age, to still be effective with the ball, without the ball, guarding, not guarding, rebounding, setting screens, talking, being a good locker room guy. I think, him and Draymond is somebody that you wouldn't think would fit well together, but somehow, some way, they on the same page, and they getting it right now, man. They getting it, for real.
100%.
Next player on this list, Todd Jerome. Very, very underrated guy. If you don't watch the Cavs a lot, you're probably like, who in the world is Todd Jerome? Todd Jerome is 6'5", He came in the NBA in 2019, and he's always been this guy that flies under the radar. You won't ever see him pop up too much on games started. He's always been an off-the-bench guy. He's played for Golden State. He's played for OKC. He's played for the Suns. Bounced around a little bit. Not a journeyman yet, but total surprise this year. Him coming off the bench, averaging 12 points, being able to shoot over 40% from the field, over 85% from the free throw line, and 50, that's right, I said it, 50% from the field. He's almost a part of that 50-40-90 club, which we all know efficiency-wise is amazing. So that's my underrated player who really, you look at his stats, he's only averaging 12, 2, and 3. Doesn't jump off at the page at you, right? But on a team like this, I think it fits well for them because they don't need another guy to come in and drop 20 a game. They need a guy that's going to come in and drop that 12, 3, and 3, that 15, 5, and 4 without, listen up, kids, without turning over the ball. The man only averages 1.5 turnovers a game. So 1.3, excuse me, I had it wrong, 1.3. That is crucial when you're coming in as another guard, whether it be, a primary ball handler or not. Ball is in his hands. He's shooting over 8 times a game. That's pretty good. So that's my underrated player, where his stats just don't add up to his efficiency and what he means to that team. 6'5", Todd Jerome.
Yeah, I'm really glad you added him to the list. Now, Todd Jerome, I kind of forgot he was in the league, to be completely honest with you. But he was one of my favorite players coming out of Virginia. They had that historic March Madness run. And I think what kind of derailed him, for most people, not even really knowing who he is he was injured a lot early in his career. And it was obviously, when you're a young player, you're trying to find your groove in the NBA. When you're injured, it makes it that much harder because you have to get healthy, figure out how you fit in, and you have to try to trust your body coming off major injuries. And I'm just happy to see him back just playing basketball, and not only that, but in winning basketball. Because coming out of Virginia, we had some really deep conversations of this man is going to come into the league. He might not be a star player, but he's definitely going to be a rotation guy. He's going to come off the bench, give you good minutes. And like I said, for the beginning half of his career, it was kind of just an injury bug that bit him every single place that he went. But I love him. He's from Virginia University, just a dog. Gonna do the dirty things, gonna do the hard things, and really like him. Now, next up, I would argue kind of the opposite of Jerome. Probably one of the most fan-favorited players in the league, and that's Peyton Pritchard, man. We've seen the man, we've seen his work ethic, flying people out to his house during the offseason and playing one-on-one literally every hour of the day. Like, my boy is working. He's not putting up gaudy numbers by any stretch of the imagination. He's giving you 14, 3, and 3 on an already super stacked Celtics team. But Peyton Pritchard, if y'all don't know, go watch some of them Oregon highlights when he was actually the man on his team. The man gives buckets. He's always been a certified scorer, and he's a person that, for the Celtics specifically, when your stars are out of the game and those bench players come in, this is not a bench player that you can rest on. You still have to be ready for him to attack the basket, to play good defense. So I think Peyton Pritchard has to be at the top of this list because the boy is just a hooper.
Hooping. Now, I'm gonna take you back on y'all. He's a little bit taller than him, but he reminds me of another Celtics player that was just ever so perfect off that bench. I'm talking about Von Wafer.
Okay. I did not expect that one. Okay.
That's what I do. Somebody that can come in, get you them points, and then go back to what he was doing on the bench. Being a good teammate, cheerleading from the sideline. Cheerleading is not a negative connotation at all. We're talking about supporting your teammates, saying things that guys may not see out there or what they need to hear. That's being a good cheerleader. Don't take it as a negative connotation. But back to Peyton Pritchard here. Baller. We know he can fill it up. He's shown that. So if anybody does go down with the injury, he can step right in and do what he does. He can also facilitate very well. He's shown that at Oregon. Now he's shown it in the league as well. He has the full trust, which is hard to do in the NBA, especially for this organization. Yes. Full trust of management on down to the coaches and his teammates. Like Trey already said, he's notorious for putting in the work. So I'm very happy that it's finally showing. And he's able to put it together in a winning fashion. A lot of guys aren't able to do that in the league. He's doing that right now. So, with that being said, moving on to the next one. This guy's been in the league for a long time. We talked about his other teammate earlier, but now we got to talk about Draymond, Mr. Triple Single himself. All right?
Facts.
You look up Draymond's stats, it's not going to blow you away ever. Not 1 year, sure, 2 years, okay, but overall, it's not something that you look at and be like, man, this guy's a legend. Like, yes, he's a legend.
Facts.
Whether it be facilitating, whether it be guarding, whether it be picking up technical fouls when they're needed, when they're not needed, whether it be being that dominant voice in the locker room, whether it be just being himself, authentic self, which some guys may not be comfortable in their skin to be themselves at all times. Draymond has always been that guy. You know, he understands his role, and he's not leaving at all. A lot of guys would have took the bag by now. He's like, nah, I'm staying with Steph. Oh, yeah. We got something special here, and we're going to keep on rocking. And what he's been able to do for Steph's career, I don't think anybody else could do. I really don't. Steph doesn't have Draymond. His career looks totally different. Period. Point blank. Yeah, I just wholeheartedly believe that. So with that being said, I think he has to be on this list. Whose stats doesn't show their value to the game, because Steph Curry is a generational player. So to be able to help somebody like that, come on, man. What you got to say?
Draymond is probably the most interesting conversation when it comes to most impactful players on a team, because you 100%, if you take the name away from the stats and look at Draymond's numbers, you're like, oh, this player, he either doesn't play very often or he's on the Wizards, or he's on a team, he's on the Trailblazers, he's on a team that's not good. So, big shout out to my dad because I was saying years ago that they should have traded Draymond for Gordon when he was still with the Magic because he was just a better overall player than Draymond. But I was wrong. It was in my younger years. I had to mature. I had to watch the game a little bit more. Because after watching it, Draymond is really the engine that makes the Golden State Warriors run. Yes, Curry gets most of the awards. Yes, he is the better player. But without Draymond, their win percentage is completely tanked. They do not compete nearly at the level that they are with him. Like Draymond is just the definition of players who impact the game, but please don't look at their stats. Draymond to a T. And last up on this list, I guess a little play on words, not exactly a player specifically, but an entire roster, and it's Oklahoma City. They have a roster that is leading in multiple categories when it comes to offensive efficiency, assist per turnover ratio, when it comes to rebounds per game. The Oklahoma City Thunder just have a roster full of dudes who are hooping, who understand their role, and who fit seamlessly together. And I just want to give a huge shout out to the whole roster. But how are you feeling about their roster? You know, being up on this list, I guess.
Listen, man, I said it once and I'll say it again. This is the college team in the NBA. Like,
yeah,
they understand. Everybody is just so unselfish. Everybody just so relaxed. It doesn't look like they're an NBA team. They are really just having a lot of fun, and guys just don't take themselves too seriously at all. Like, you can go up and down the roster when it comes down to their bench, man. They're doing it. They're doing it, man. Each and every one of them is doing it. And that's why they have almost, 70 wins at this point? 64
yeah.
going on 65 wins? Like, dude, you don't get that often at all. That's why I say this team moves like a college team in the NBA, just because of that depth that they have and the ability to not have egos putting us down at all.
I agree. Now, best part of this. Denzel, give us a hot take for today.
Hot take.
What you got?
Hot take for the day.
Hot take for today.
Within. Ooh. All right, hear me out now.
Oh, here you go. Okay. Timestamp it.
Within 3 years, running backs will be paid more than wide receivers in the NFL. It's a changing of the guard coming. I think organizations are starting to realize that its passing stuff was great. Stats were amazing. Products went up and down. We need to get back to some old school football. I'm telling you right now, running backs will be paid more than wide receivers. 3 years.
Okay. Interesting.
Hot take. That's a hot take.
I didn't think he was going to go running backs, but I like it. I wouldn't mind some more ground and pound type of football because you already got your weapons on the outside. I like that a lot. Hot take of the day. I appreciate that one. But just like that, another episode in the books. Like I said, leave a comment in the comment section down below of who do you think is probably the most underrated player in the league, or a player that just don't necessarily get as much love or appreciation compared to what their stats actually show. If you are new to the channel, you're new to the podcast, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to get notified every time we post a video. Like I said, my name's Trey. This is Denzel. Better Day Sports. Really appreciate you stopping by, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.